All right, so last time we were here, we explored how to use our calculator to be able to enter a fraction and use it to simplify fractions, use it to change denominators. And in other words, we were just practicing using those keys to manipulate some fractions so we understand how they work. And today what we're going to do is we're going to use our calculators to actually do operations with fractions. Now remember, by operations, I mean the four operations in math, which are add, what? Subtract, multiply, and divide, exactly. So we're going to use our calculators for each one of those. Now, here's the good news. Here's the bad news. The good news is the calculator can do all of the work for you. You have to know nothing other than what I showed you yesterday about how to enter things into the calculator. The bad news for you, though, is that if you use this opportunity to dump all your knowledge about fractions, you will regret it. Because our next topic is algebra, and you can't use the calculator to do the fractions in algebra. You will still have to do the fractions by hand. So do not think that from this moment forward, the calculator can do all fractions for you. It can do simple fractions, but not all fractions, right? So be aware of that, okay? Don't think that this is the celebration of the last time you ever have to do a fraction, because it ain't, okay? Yes, ma'am. A quick review, just to remind you that remember that fractions are born because it's division you can't do. So for example, 3 divided by 5, you can't divide a 3 by 5, so we just create a fraction out of it, 3 over 5. So the fraction bar is really a division symbol. But I don't want you to enter it as a division symbol, because what's going to happen if you do that is your calculator is going to give you a decimal answer, and that's not what we want. We want a fractional answer. So I want you to enter the fraction bar using the fraction key on your calculator. And if you weren't here last time, you'll see it this time. So make sure you're using it properly. Remember, the top number is always called the numerator. The bottom number is always called the denominator. So I don't want to hear top and bottom. I want to hear numerator and denominator, right? Use the proper terms. And that fraction bar, again, it indicates division, but if it's written as a fraction, I want you to enter it as a fraction. Okay? Now, anytime you have just a over b, some fraction, that's just a common fraction. And we have 3 categories. We looked at these yesterday. Proper means that the numerator is smaller than the denominator. Improper means the numerator is bigger than the denominator. And if it has a whole number with it, it's called a mixed number. Okay? Good job. All right, and we learned how to enter all of those into your calculator yesterday. Now what we're going to do is we're going to now start using the calculator for some operations. But I want you to be careful because you will have negative numbers as well. And remember we said that when you're entering a negative number in a fraction, we simply put the negative with which part? Which is called the numerator. Remember, top's not good enough anymore. We want numerator. Come on, guys. All right. Okay? And we place fractions on a number line. So remember that? So what we're going to do is we're going to move down to 3b, and we're going to look at adding and subtracting fractions as well as some other operations with fractions. So all you need to do is, remember, they're doing it all by hand. You do not have to do all of this by hand. What we're going to do is we're going to learn how to use the calculator to do it for you. Okay? So let's just go to the problems. So look down here at number 1, for example, and we're going to pick, we'll just pick the first one. What the heck? It doesn't matter. So looking at 1a, we have 2/9 plus 5/9. This one's easy because in order to add or subtract fractions, you need to have a common denominator, and the denominator is already the same. If that's the case, then you just add the numerators and keep the denominator. But I'm just want you to practice using the calculator. So what I want you to do is take your calculator, enter 2 over 9, and remember it won't stop until you hit either the arrow key, which tabs it over, or enter after you enter it. So here we would enter 2, then the fraction key, and then 9, and then hit equals to set that fraction. Otherwise, if you keep on putting in more numbers and operations, it'll put them in the denominator. We don't want that, right? Then after that, you're going to hit plus, and then you're going to put 5, then the fraction key, and then the 9, and then you're going to hit equals again, and that should give you your answer. Okay? Give that a try. So do F. Go. All right. So for your homework, you're going to do exercise 3B1. All of them. You should be able to calculate, add, and subtract in your sleep. 3B1.
What page is it?
What page does it say it's on? Page 54. Okay? Go. You can get most of it done now if you'll just get it done.